Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Śrīmate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin iti namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschadya Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhaktadinda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhaktarinda Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Gaura Nitai Jaya Gaura Nitai Jaya Gaura Nitai Gaura Nitai Gaura Nitai Gaura Nitai Jaya Gaura Nitai Jaya Gaura Nitai Jaya Nitai Satchishundara Nitai Satchishundara Nitai Satchishundara Jaya Nitai Satchishundara Jaya Nitai Satchishundara Nitai Satchishundara Dada Nitai Satchishundara Jaya Nitai Satchishundara Jaya Giri Govardhan Jaya Giri Govardhan Jaya Giri Govardhan Jaya Jaya Giri Govardhan 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 Jai Prabhupada 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 Jai Jaya Prabhupada Jai Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Prabhupada Ananda Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai Namacharya Śrīla Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasudhi Gaura Bhaktarinda Ki Jai Hare Krishna. So, welcome. Welcome. I will quickly introduce everyone very briefly so Hari gets a little bit of an idea. Hari has been at the Derby Namhata program with Bhakti Govinda Swami and with Bhakti Swarup Damodar Maharaj. And it was a beautiful program, like we had in Leicester, similarly, a little bit smaller, but very nice. And Maharaj spoke, and we had some Kirtan and Prasadam and all of that. So there, Hari is no newcomer to Krishna consciousness. Well, that's I observed particular when the Kirtan was going on. Hari, you were really, your eyes have sparkled, and you were really enjoying that Kirtan. Right. So then we have, okay, Hari, yes, please speak.
Oh, no, sorry, Prabhu. I just wanted to say it was a wonderful wonderful program, and it was wonderful to make your association, Prabhu. And thank you for inviting me to tonight. Hare Krishna.
Wonderful. Hare Krishna. Amit, he has been for quite a long time with us. He is progressing in spiritual affairs, chanting Hare Krishna 8 rounds minimum, sometimes 16. And he is otherwise engaged as a volunteer and animal rights activist. So that's Amit. Then we have Prakash. Amit is from Leicester. Hari is from around near Derby. Prakash is from Delhi. It's midnight there, something around midnight there. So Prakash is our regular, comes for some time, otherwise it gets too late. Maybe for 20 minutes, half an hour, and then he takes rest. And he has been just the other day, he's sending me some pictures. He goes every month, it appears like, or every second month he goes to Vrindavan. Hare Krishna, because Delhi, Vrindavan is not that far. So he's a Brajabasi of some sort. He's regular in Vrindavan at Krishna Balaram Mandir, and he sends some nice pictures from there. Then we have Vijay, who also, I mean, we have been in contact for so many years. But Vijay is also chanting 8 rounds of Hare Krishna Mahamantra, and things are progressing really nicely. He has been at the Birmingham airport with me to greet some Maharajas, and when they came out of the arrival gate, then we were both there with beautiful garlands, and we garlanded Maharaj. And then Vijay came all with us, with the Maharajas, came to Leicester. And immediately in Leicester, because it was the night before, I made 2 garlands, and it was my first garlands, really. Not first maybe, but big garlands. I wanted them to come down up to the hip, to the navel. So they were big garlands, and it took me longer than I thought, and I couldn't finish. And so Vijay, when we came to Leicester, there was a bit of time before the programs, and he wonderfully made another garland, and Shushila Ben came with some short garlands, and then everything worked out. So we could actually give a garland to Narada Prabhu Neera Mataji from London, who came. Unfortunately, Haris, they couldn't come to Derby. I would have loved them to come to Derby. They're 2 wonderful devotees, and of course you know Narada from the Hare Krishna project, and Neera Mataji, a wonderful Kirtan leader, sings beautiful Kirtan. So I'll make that available from, she was leading the Kirtan in Leicester and in Rouen in France, the temple of the, and ashram of the Maharajas. So then we had enough garlands to go around. So thank you, Vijay, again. That was wonderful. So thank you all for coming tonight. Let's see, where have we stopped last week? We are on the 6th chapter of Bhagavad Gita entitled Dhyana Yoga. It's a yoga chapter. They're all yoga verses. Yeah, our next text is, I believe so, text 18. 18. Okay, let me share that screen with all of you. So that is text 18. Hari, how is your Sanskrit? Can you read it? Or struggling?
My Sanskrit is quite poor, Prabhu, so I'll happily defer it onto you.
What is poor? We'll have to test that at one point, maybe not do
no,
that.
no. Well, I'd be welcome. Perhaps when I come to Leicester, you can teach me more.
Okay.
But yeah, it's not fantastic.
Well, nobody's Sanskrit is, but everybody makes progress. Amit is just every time he reads the Sanskrit, he's getting better and better, and Vijay also. So nice. So let's, Amit, can you read us the verse? I'll say the invocation. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Amit, come close to the microphone.
Okay, can you hear me now?
I can hear you.
I was talking while it was muted, and I was wondering why you're not responding.
No. Okay, you are
Okay.
close. Take it slowly. It's easy verse.
Yatta vinayatam chitam atmane iva vatishthate.
How does that work? Amani eva vatishthate. Do you see anything Atmani eva There is a Y at the end of Atmani, and there's a vowel E, eva vatishthate. So go together.
Okay.
How would you read it together? Amanyeva vatishthate. Okay, carry on.
Nispraha sarve
Sarva.
Kamme biyo yukta uchete tat.
Again, ityuchyate.
Iuchete.
Tada.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, I would like Hari, if you can read the translation, would that be okay with you?
Yeah, of course, Prabhu. When the yogi, by practice of yoga, disciplines his mental activities and becomes situated in transcendence, devoid of all material desires, he is said to be well established in yoga.
Okay, and the purport as well.
The activities of a yogi are distinguished from those of an ordinary person by his characteristic cessation from all kinds of material desires, of which sex is the chief. A perfect yogi is so well disciplined in the activities of a mind that he can no longer be disturbed by any kind of material desire. This perfectional stage can... Oh, could you scroll a bit?
Yes, I will scroll up.
This perfectional stage can automatically be attained by persons in Krishna consciousness, stated in the Srimad Bhagavatam. Savai Mana Krishna Pada Ravindayo Vachamshi Vakunfa Guna Vanene Karo Hare Mandira Marjana Dishu Shrutim Shakara Yuta Da Kafode.
Nice.
Yeah.
Carry on. Oh, you got a lot here.
Mukunda Lingaraya darshane jursau tad virayagatra
Pritya.
bhasi pritya nigya sangamam grenanam sha tat para saroja sorabeya Srimat Tulasya Rasanam Tad Abite Padau Hare Cetra Padanu Sapanane Sri Hashikesha Padabi Vandane Kamam Sha Dasya Natu Kamayaya Yafotama Sruka Jana Rasya Ratya. See, what I find hard is obviously just for vowels,
Okay.
because in the
Yes,
Latinization,
I think you did very well, and I welcome you in the league of our Sanskrit readers. It looks like we are all on the same level. Thank you very much. Beautiful. And here is Jayanti Bai. Hare Krishna. Welcome, Jayanti Bai. So let's carry on with that purport. Hari, that's you.
King Ambarisya first of all engaged his mind on the lotus feet of Lord Kṛṣṇa. Then, one after another, he engaged his words in describing the transcendental qualities of the Lord, his hands in mopping the temple of the Lord, his ears in hearing of the activities of the Lord, his eyes in seeing the transcendental forms of the Lord, his body in touching the bodies of the devotees, his sense of smell in smelling the scents of the lotus flowers offered to the Lord, his tongue in tasting the tulasi leaf offered at the lotus feet of the Lord, his legs in going to places of pilgrimage in the temple of the Lord, his head in offering obeisances unto the Lord, and his desires in executing the mission of the Lord. All of these transcendental activities are quite befitting a pure devotee. This transcendental stage might be inexpressible subjectively by the followers of the impersonalist path. It becomes very easy and practical for a person in Krishna consciousness, as is apparent in the above description of the engagements of Maharaja Ambarisya. Unless the mind is fixed on the lotus feet of the Lord by constant remembrance, such transcendental engagements are not practical. In the devotional service of the Lord, therefore, these prescribed activities are called archana, or engaging all the senses in the service of the Lord. Senses and the mind require engagements. Simple abnegation is not practical. Therefore, for people in general, especially those who are not in the renounced order of life, transcendental engagement of the senses and the mind, as described above, is the perfect process for transcendental achievement, which is called yukta in the Bhagavad Gītā.
Beautiful. Thank you very much, Hari. Okay. Translation again. When the yogi, by practice of yoga, disciplines his mental activities and becomes situated in transcendence, devoid of all material desires, he is said to be well established in yoga. As we have mentioned many times, Krishna says to Arjuna, at least be a yogi. By all means, be a yogi. Of course, we have many times spoken, there are different types of yoga and the yoga ladder. And one is known as a Hatha Yoga, Ashtanga Yogi, a Jnana Yogi, Karma Yogi, according to the step on the ladder where he is standing. But the yoga ladder is meant to be progressive. Like a ladder, we want to reach the roof of the house to fix the roof, or some water comes in, so we put a ladder. It's not that we're standing on the first, second, third step and staying there for a long time. We have to move on, but then we have to know the goal. What's the goal of yoga? That's It's not a process in itself, but yoga has a goal. Yoga means to link with the Supreme. So the top step of the ladder is called bhakti-yoga. That is Krishna consciousness. So all yogas of the previous steps, they're all ending up in bhakti-yoga. That's the goal, to get to the roof of the house. So here we're speaking of, or Lord Kṛṣṇa is speaking of, disciplining one's mental activities. That's not an easy job. So mind is so flickering. One can see that on one's own mind, and one can see that on the mind of others. One moment the mind wants, one moment he wants something. With all conviction, yes, that's the right thing to do. Yes, let's do that. And with many arguments, it needs to be done because of this, because of that, because of that. And the next moment, the mind changes, and with the same power of argument, the mind is arguing, no, that's not a good thing to do. That's a mind. Arguing for one thing, and then the next moment against that very same thing. So the mind is accepting something and then rejecting it again. So the mind, so ordinary mind cannot be trusted. It's flickering. In Arjuna, he asked Lord Kṛṣṇa, how is it possible to control the mind? It seems to be more difficult than the, who knows, than the what? What is Arjuna saying? Anyone?
Oh. So did you say the wind?
Yes. Excellent.
Yep.
That's a well-known verse. It's more difficult, it seems to be more difficult to control the mind, seems to be more difficult than to controlling the wind. And who can control the wind? Today, at least here in Leicester, it was a very windy day. Someone said to me, the wind is 37 miles per hour. That's quite a lot of blowing, and the trees were moving in the wind. It was a strong wind. Otherwise, temperature was okay, but the wind had made it feel very cold. So who can control that wind? Nobody can control that wind. So if the mind is more difficult to control than the wind, so that speaks volumes. And Lord Kṛṣṇa says, he agrees, yes, it's undoubtedly difficult to control the restless mind. The mind is restless. The mind never rests. The mind is always active, day and night. Day and night, always thinking. So there are some people that say you have to empty the mind. You have to become thoughtless, not thinking. They're trying this, but that doesn't work. If the mind is not active, that means the soul has left the body. Then the mind, in that body at least, is not active. We are dead. But as long as we are alive in this body, the mind is always active, restless. So Kṛṣṇa says, it is undoubtedly difficult to control the restless mind, but it can be controlled by suitable practice and detachment. That is Kṛṣṇa answering, suitable practice. Now, what is that suitable practice? Anyone has some suggestion? What's that suitable practice to control the mind? Amit.
Discipline, so tapasya, so austerity.
Yes.
Bhakti sadhana.
That's a yogic way. Amit, what did you want to say?
Bhakti-yoga.
Yeah, what? A bit more precise?
Yeah, I mean, with the discipline of chanting.
Chanting, that's it. Chanting the holy name of Krishna, the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. That's how to control the mind. That is a suitable practice. Because if we chant Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, while we're chanting, the mind is fixed on hearing the sound. It's almost like when we hear next door in the room someone is calling our name, or not calling loudly for us, but speaking about us, and we hear our name, immediately we are very attentive. Oh, someone is talking about me. So in the same way, when we chant Hare Krishna, Krishna is also, oh, someone is chanting. Oh, this devotee is chanting my name. So to catch Krishna's attention. Then the mind becomes steady if we fix the mind. There is a beautiful verse in Bhagavad Gītā. Man mana bhavamat bhakto madhyachimam namaskuru. Always think of me. Become my devotee, of your obeisances to me. Worship me. And by doing this, you will come to me. We all want to come to Krishna. Back home to Godhead, we say. Back home. Because this material world is not a place we can remain. In this material world we have to constantly experience birth and death. Not very nice. Birth is not very nice and death is not very nice. And everything in between, where we are getting sick, flu, or worse things. And old age is also not very enjoyable. When the body is breaking down and the legs are not working very well, the knees have problems, the back has problems, so many problems. So we don't want to take another birth. And Śrīla Prabhupāda in his infinite mercy, Śrīla Prabhupāda, who is just next to Krishna, the most confidential associate of Krishna, he has promised by his mercy that if we follow this simple process of Krishna consciousness, of following the rules and regulations to curb our restless senses and mind, and to chant Hare Krishna, then we, by Śrīla Prabhupāda's mercy, which is Krishna's mercy, then we can go back home to Godhead, to the spiritual world in this very lifetime. It may not appear at the moment. We seem to be far away from pure bhakti. Pure bhakti means no more material desires. Zero. If there is a little material desire, that's not pure bhakti. That's a beautiful verse. Anyapilasita shunyam jnana karma anavritam. It explains that pure bhakti means we are free from karma. Karma means fruitive activities. Well, Śrīla Prabhupāda coined that term, fruitive activities. You will probably not find it in a dictionary. Perhaps after 40 years of Śrīla Prabhupada preaching and so many books, and perhaps it has found its way into the Oxford Dictionary. Would be interesting. Fruitive activities means activities where we want to enjoy the fruit of that activity. Like people work to get money, and the money will satisfy their material desires. That's a fruit. We plant a tree, a mango tree, an apple tree, a pear tree. Why? Because we want to enjoy the fruit. So that means fruitive desire. To desire something because we want to enjoy it, separately from Krishna. Now that fruitive desire, if we engage whatever we desire in conjunction with Krishna, if we still desire this apple and pear and mango, but not that we, separate from Krishna, we enjoy it. My mango, my apple, my pear. I planted the tree, so I want to enjoy it, nobody else. Put big fence around. But if we think of it, this is Krishna's pear tree, Krishna's mango tree, because we will offer these pears and mangoes to the Lord, to the deity, or to the picture. We will offer it to Krishna with a simple prayer. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And if we do more elaborate prayers, then it's Nama Om Vishnu Padaya, Namaste, Nama Mahavidannaya, Namo Brahmanya Deva Ego. So there are some proper offering prayers, which is of course very nice, which the Pujari does when we offer food on the altar. So that's very different. There's no sense gratification. We offer it to Krishna, and then we'll take the remnants of that offering. Generally, Krishna gives it back. Maharaj told a very nice story in Derby, which is very similar to the story I have told before, where a poor Brahmin family, they had deities there. They had a little altar room with a door, and they had a young boy of 5 years of age, and the mother cooked the food, and the father took that plate into that altar room, as it's supposed to be, put that plate down on the altar, and then he bowed down and rang the bell and chanted the offering prayers, and then he left the room, because Krishna always eats in private. And after 10-15 minutes he comes back, claps his hands, offering is finished, and he takes the food from the altar. Now what was just any material foodstuff has been spiritualized by Krishna, touching it by his glance, by hearing the prayers. We can touch it with his hands if he wants. Krishna is so wonderful. All the senses of his body are interchangeable. Interchangeable. Like when at the beginning of creation, Krishna is glancing over the material energy. He is impregnating the material energy with all the living entities, all the souls. So there is no... when we producing offspring, that's quite a different way. We're not glancing at our wife and suddenly she becomes pregnant. That doesn't work. And that would cause a lot of havoc wherever we're glancing and people becoming pregnant. No, our senses have a specific purpose. The eyes for sight, the ears for sound, the tongue for taste, the nose for smell, the touch for touch. So, but Krishna's senses are interchangeable, so he can impregnate material energy, making material energy pregnant with all the living entities just by glancing over it. So Krishna will glance over that offering, the deity of Krishna, which is not different from the Lord, of course, and he will taste the offering by just looking at it. So one day, so it happens, a father had to go to the market in a town, in a faraway town. And he thought his boy is old enough. He has seen how he was doing the offering and so on. So he said, "My dear boy, I will be away for 3 days. You please do as you have seen, prayers, chant the prayers, mother will make the plate ready, and you put it on the altar, chant the prayers, and go out, and after 10 minutes come back and take the plate. So you can do that. The family was so poor. In fact, they only lived off the Mahaprasad. Whatever they offered on Krishna's plate, that was the nourishments. 3 of them, husband, wife, and the boy. So the father left, the boy did it, and he offered with prayers, and he went out, and he came back, and the food was still on the plate. We thought, oh no, Krishna hasn't eaten. He hasn't watched that carefully what his father did. The father said, you make sure Krishna is eating. Oh, Krishna hasn't eaten. Then he again said the prayers, and he prayed to Krishna, please, my Lord, eat his food. If you don't eat, my father becomes angry. And he went out, and after 10 minutes he came back, and the food was still on the plate. And then he really started to pray from the bottom of his heart. Please accept this offering. Eat this offering. My mother has prepared, and I'm offering it to you. If you don't eat, my father become angry, and he will beat me. And with tears in his eyes, he asked Krishna to please accept that food. So he went out again, 3rd time. When he came back in, the plate was empty. Oh, Hare Krishna. If ever you have deities or picture altar at home, and you offer and you come back and the plate is empty, your life is successful. Krishna is always eating, but sometimes we can see it and sometimes we can see it not. Most of the time we cannot see. So then he was happy. He took the empty plate and brought to his mother. And she said, what's that? Where is the prasadam? Where is the Mahaprasadam? Oh, Krishna ate it. Oh, yes, you ate it. She didn't believe him. And that was going on for 3 days. Same. When the husband came back, she told him. And we didn't believe it either. Krishna ate it. So he was, before the boy offered, he was hiding in the temple room. Krishna is eating alone. Nobody. It's a big offense to be hiding in the altar room when Krishna is eating. Like Maharaj explained a story where Krishna hasn't eaten. I think it was in Leicester he told that. And then what was that lady? Sarvatni? Anyone remembers that? Vijay, you remember that?
Well, Prabhu, what are you asking? The name of the lady?
Yes, who
Which?
offered the food to the Lord.
Oh, she was helping Vashana.
Famous story.
Oh.
Anyway, then Krishna said, no, I haven't eaten, because the curtain is not closed completely. Oh, then she said, what? For such a little thing? So it just proves Krishna is eating in private. The curtain must be closed, no gaps. Or the door of the altar room. So he was hiding. And the same procedure with the boy. And the 3rd time, the boy prayed with tears in his eyes, please, my Lord, eat that food. Then he went out, and then Krishna extended, the deity extended his hand. With his hand. He didn't eat with his eyes at that instance. He took some food from the plate. And that faithless man, he jumped out and said, hey, I caught you. You're supposed to keep that prasadam for us and not eat it all yourself. Big offense. And then Krishna says, and you're not supposed to be in the temple room, in the altar room while I'm eating. as a result of that great offense, only the lineage of that boy prospered. So his children later on, and so on. So it's a famous story. In fact, when Krishna was eating the sweet rice, which was hot, normally we offer the sweet rice not that hot. Then when the father jumped out and Krishna spilled some of this hot sweet rice on himself. And to that very day, that deity has a mark of a burned mark on his body from that hot sweet rice. So all these things, of course, happened. And we have another beautiful story of that Brahmin who was so poor he couldn't even offer anything. He didn't have an offering plate, and they had just a little bit of food, he and his wife. So one day he was in the assembly of sadhus, Vaishnavas, and he heard that one can also offer food manasapuja, in the mind. In the mind. So there are different ways. The deity can also be worshipped in the mind, but of course if we have the deity physically there, then we'll do the arati and the offering. But for instance, when we are traveling, we are on the airplane, it might be quite impractical if we get some pictures out and put them in front of us and ringing the bell, and we can of course do that if we are bold enough to do that, no problem. But we can just offer the food in our mind, if we take this airplane food at all. Or if some devotees we have taken some food with us, so it needs to be offered. So we're looking or closing our eyes and chanting the prayers, or offering prayers within our mind. And when we offer that food to Krishna in our mind, so by meditation. So that Brahmin, he heard that and he said, oh, that is very nice. I'm so poor, I cannot afford all that paraphernalia for offering the food. So let me do that, do this manasapuja in the mind. So he sat down near the Ganges in meditation, and he meditated that he got some water from the Ganga in a golden pot, and then he was bathing the deity, massaging him with oil, drying his body, and then offering foodstuff, all kind of varieties of vegetables, varieties of sabjis and rice and dal and kachoris and you name it. He couldn't afford that himself to eat such opulently, but in his meditation, and everything on a golden plate and golden paraphernalia, a golden bell to ring, and he likes it very much, this kind of meditation. He did that every day for some time. One day he had some sweet rice, and it was also perhaps hot. So in meditation he touched that sweet rice, and it was so hot. He burned his finger in his meditation, and he woke up from his meditation, and his finger was burned and red. Meditation, mind. And at the same time, Lord Narayan in Vaikuntha, he was smiling because he had arranged all that. He was smiling at Lakshmiji, his consort. She said, "My Lord, why are you suddenly smiling?" And he said, "I'll explain it to you. Bring that Brahmin to me." So, sir, Vishnu, Dutas, the servants of Lord Vishnu in Vaikuntha, came with a flower aeroplane in front of this Brahmin, a Vimana, an UFO, whatever we name it. And they invited him. They said, Lord Narayan wants to see you immediately. Enter that flower aeroplane. And that Brahmin, in his very self-same body, he didn't have to leave his body to go back home to Godhead, but with his very self-same body, he was transported to Vaikuntha, and Lord Narayan explained everything to Lakshmi. Such a devotion just by meditation. So it's important. Back to the verse. A yogi, by practicing of yoga, one disciplines his mental activities. And if one can do that, discipline one's mental activities, one becomes situated in transcendence, on the spiritual platform. And then Śrīla Prabhupāda, Lord Kṛṣṇa says in the verse, devoid of all material desires. If we are on the transcendental platform, there are no more material desires. Such a yogi is said to be well established in yoga. So that yoga is not a cheap thing. It's not just some gymnastic exercises and breathing exercises and pressing the nose here and there. No, one needs to be able to discipline one's mental activities and being free from all material desires. And we are established in yoga. So here Śrīla Prabhupāda writes in his purport that a yogi, his activities are distinguished from the ordinary person by cessation of all kinds of material desires, of which the sex impulse is chief, which is the strongest material desires in this world. Perfect yogi is well disciplined and is no longer disturbed by any kind of material desires. Material desires is a disturbance. If one is not Krishna conscious, then material desires are very nice. Even in the mind, the mind also, in a subtle way, he likes to enjoy. Just dwelling on some sense gratification, some sort. Daydreaming. And of course we know, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gītā, by contemplating the object of the senses, one develops attachment for them. Contemplation, meditating. So we have to be careful that we don't meditate on some sensual desires. When the mind is very happily going due to habits from this and previous lifetimes, he wants to enjoy in certain ways. But a Krishna conscious person will withdraw the mind as soon as he realizes my mind goes like a prostitute, goes to trying to enjoy some material pleasures. Then immediately, how to withdraw the mind? Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. And if the attraction, the material attraction is strong, then Śrīla Prabhupāda said, chant louder, Hare Krishna, and just by Krishna's name, the illusion is immediately dispelled. Because after all, it's just illusion. It's just the illusion. It's not the fulfilling the desires. It's an illusion. So the enjoyment is in the mind. Let's say we know there is a feast, a big feast, prasadam feast has been offered to the Lord with hundreds of preparations, and then they will be distributed in the next 10-15 minutes. And already the mind is enjoying her. Oh, that must taste. We can see the prasadam before us on plates, but not yet ready to eat. We haven't said the prayer yet. And the mind is enjoying already. Oh, that dokra, that tastes so nice. I wonder how paneer sabji. Oh, paneer sabji with broccoli. Very nice. And the mind is already enjoying. That's all in the mind. And then we start eating. and we're talking to someone while we're respecting the prasad. We don't actually say we eat the prasad, and we respect the prasad. And before we know, we have emptied our plate. We didn't even have any time for enjoying the food on our tongue. The enjoyment before in the mind, that was greater than the actual taste on the tongue. So all that is happening in the mind. Then Śrīla Prabhupāda writes, the perfectional stage that can be automatically be reached, attained by a person in Krishna consciousness. And then that beautiful long verse is described where King Ambarish, he is an example, he is engaging all his senses in the service of the Lord. In different ways. The mind is always engaged in thinking of Krishna. The words are engaged in describing the transcendental qualities of the Lord, and so on. All the senses are engaged. So that is devotional service. If the senses are engaged, and mostly the mind, if the mind, Krishna says, Man mana bhava mat bhakto, always think of me. Not only when we're chanting our rounds, hopefully we think of Krishna, but always, throughout the day, we can see Krishna in everything. And he is in everything. He's a super soul. In every atom, the four-armed Lord Vishnu is present. He's a super soul. Not only in the heart of all living entities, but in every atom. So how is it possible not to connect with Krishna? It's just our forgetfulness, because we want to enjoy separately from Krishna. That's a problem. We have forgotten where these objects of the senses, where is it coming from? Let's stay with the food. Where is that food coming from? It's Krishna's food. It's Krishna's rain, Krishna's sunlight, and so on, which grows the food. So we didn't make it. Krishna is making it possible so we can eat. So if we don't have any gratitude, if we don't think of Krishna while we enjoy some food, then that's forgetfulness. But we, through the process of Krishna consciousness, we are encouraged to remember Krishna in whatever we do, to connect everything with Krishna. And then on that stage, advanced stage of devotional service, then one sees Krishna everywhere, certainly in the heart of all living entities. There is a stage of on the spiritual path which is called Kanishta, the beginner stage, sometimes even translated as these are materialistic devotees. Why materialistic devotees? That seems to be contradictory. Devotees, materialistic? They are just on the threshold of becoming devotees. They're not actually devotees, because there's so much engrossed in the material energy. But because they're trying to become devotees, they are counted as devotees. That's a Kanishta Bhakta, Kanishta Adhikari. He sees Krishna in the temple, in the deities. He has great awe and reverence for the deities. He's bowing down, he's folding his hands when he sees the deity. And so that concept is there. But that person doesn't see Krishna in the heart of other living entities, not even in the heart of devotees. When he goes out of the temple, he starts quarreling. So that is not a very mature stage of Krishna consciousness. one needs to come to that, at least to that madhyama, that middle position where one can see Krishna in the heart of every living entity. A more advanced devotee, he will not quarrel with us devotees, knowing very well Krishna is in their heart. He will not quarrel even with ordinary people. Krishna is in their heart as well. He will not even kill an ant, a spider, because Krishna is there as well. He will be very, very conscious. I remember a long time ago, we had a room, there were many flies. We caught them by the hand and put them outside, put them out of the window. That was quite an undertaking, because the flies are very quick. But one becomes a bit expert, he's quicker than the flies can fly away. Catching them in one's hand, in one's palm, and putting them outside. Ordinary people, what will they do? They either have a fly catcher, something where the flies, they're smelling the sweetness, a honey type of layer, and then they're sitting there and they get glued on it and they're dying a terrible death. Or others come with some, they're just smashing the flies. I have seen. Even one fly in the room is too much, so they're killing the flies with either newspaper or whichever. So that's not the understanding of a devotee. He sees Krishna even in the fly, even in the ant. He will never hurt a fly or an ant. Nor will he just walk through nature and picking up a flower, smelling it perhaps, and then throwing it down. We don't do that. If we pick some flowers, we pick for Krishna. And we offer it to Krishna, and then we're smelling it. And we're not just picking even some grass and just out of thoughtlessness and drop it down to the floor. These are also living entities. Of course, the grass is not killed. If we pick even some flowers, or then we can speak. My dear flower, I'll pick you now and I'll offer you to the Lord, and you will get the benefit. You be offered to Krishna. Next lifetime, human form of life. So that we can do. So that is seeing Krishna everywhere. And Ambarish Maharaj was doing that, with his different senses, all engaged in the service of the Lord. And Śrīla Prabhupāda writes, unless the mind is fixed on the lotus feet of the Lord by constant remembrance, so that red thread goes throughout Bhagavad Gītā and Bhagavatam, constant remembrance. Because we are only in this material world because we have been forgetful of Krishna. That's why we're here. In the spiritual world, everybody is remembering Krishna. Everybody's focus is on Krishna. There's no forgetfulness. But in this material world, because we want to enjoy separately from Krishna, we have become envious of Krishna, in fact. Why should he enjoy? That's enviousness. Why should Krishna enjoy everything? Why should everything be offered to Krishna first? Why not me? That's envy. Okay, then we finding ourselves in this material world. Okay, I want to enjoy. Okay, Krishna is very kind. You want to enjoy this material energy? My energy. Okay, I'll give you permission. Do it and see. But there is a catch. The catch is at your own risk, because you want to enjoy separately from me. There is repeated birth and death. that comes along with it if we want to enjoy separately from Krishna. Repeated birth and death. So that risk we undertaking. So therefore, the process of Krishna consciousness is to turning our lusty desires. Lusty desires means we're lusting after so many things. Lusting after food, lusting after some nice pleasant forms and sound and taste and smell and touch. These are all lusty desires. If we transform these lusty desires and connect them with Krishna first, then these desires will be purified. And from lust, material lust, is transformed into love. Isn't that a beautiful thing? Into love. Our lusty desires are transformed into love for Krishna. And what is a... Welcome Rituan Prabhu Amrita Radha Mataji. Look who is here. Harry is here. Hare Krishna. So
that's really great, Prabhuji. Sorry, we went out, we just came home just 5 minutes back. That's why we were a bit late.
Yes.
Yeah, that's really good. That's Hari is here.
Oh, great. Hare Krishna. Everybody loves you, Hari. Yes, that's a fact. So our material lust get transformed into love for Krishna. And there is no limit of love for Krishna. Where can we put a limit? It's always increasing. And what's the result of loving Krishna? Love will sprout in our heart also. We all want to be loved. And we want to love. That's a very basic, even basic human thing. We want to love. We want to put our love somewhere. Not only we want to be loved. We don't care about anybody. Love me, appreciate me. Only in a selfish way. I'm not loved enough. Everybody should love me. I'm so great. Or whatever. No. Also, the opposite. We have so much love in our heart. We need to put it somewhere. It's important. We need to find a place, a worthy place, where we can put our loving propensity. In this material world, we're trying to put our love somewhere, and we constantly get disappointed. We're putting our love into material objects, and they don't last, and we get disappointed. Things break, and so on. Beautiful. We get a beautiful new phone. We love it. The latest iPhone. After some time, suddenly it starts lagging. The battery needs changing. It goes into pieces. It's outdated, and so disappointing again. What to speak about people? We're putting our love in people. Love and trust. Trust goes along with it, and then we are disappointed. Again and again and again. So we don't find a worthy object of our love, because our love is very, very sacred, very pure. We need some place where proper reciprocation is there. Love means an exchange, loving exchange. We need a reciprocation of our love. But sometimes we're loving someone, we don't get that reciprocation in this material world. Most of the time we don't. Or we get it for a little bit and then it's finished. And even if our love is reciprocated, we found a perfect partner, then death comes and takes them away. So it's always broken by kala, by time. Everything is deteriorating. So, but if we give our love to Krishna, Krishna will never leave us. even if we look at parents, children, we love our parents, but that love has an end. Our parents disappear, leaving their body. They're gone, or our beloved, and then our heart is broken. But Krishna is always with us, birth after birth. Even if we degrade ourselves to a body in the animal kingdom, in the mode of ignorance, Krishna is not saying, oh no, I'm in your heart, but now you're becoming a dog by your karma and by your bad action. You're degrading yourself to live in a body of a dog. And I'm supposed to go as a super soul with you in a body of a dog. No. No, Krishna's not saying that. He's ready to go being the super soul, even if we degrading ourselves and receiving by material energy a body of a dog, a cat, even a worm. Krishna will be there. So what kind of loving friend that is? What kind of loving friend? Huh? Okay. There is a beautiful story. That was in Kazakhstan. Some Madhajis, they had to go by plane to Almaty, another town in Kazakhstan. So the devotees in the temple, they said, take some prasadam with you. And they said, no, why we take some? It's just a 2-hour flight. We are not hungry. Yeah, take some prasad. Devotees at the temple insisted. Take some prasad with you. If not, if you don't eat, bring it to the devotees in the other temple. So they persuaded them. So they took some prasad. Nice kachoris and this, that. Beautiful prasad. Puris, chapatis. And then on the plane, they had separate seats. One of the Madhajis had a seat and a friend was sitting behind on a different seat. And then she was thinking, will someone sit next to me, or maybe it is free, then I can invite my friend. Then a gentleman came. He sat next to her. And she looked very stern. No smile, nothing. And when the stewardess came around and food, what you wish, and he whispered to the stewardess, that gentleman, vegetarian. He didn't want two devotees hearing that, obviously, out of whatever reason, we'll find out. But Mataji, sitting next to him, she heard it. And said, oh, you vegetarian. We have some very nice prasadam with us. That's all vegetarian. Why don't you? I share some with you. That's much better than that airplane food. And that gentleman said, no, I don't want. Oh. And then again she said, here, look, these beautiful kachoris. Look, there's some sweet rice even. Gulab jamun. Halwa. But he said, no, I don't want. So eventually he said, I cannot get away from you people. I have been living in the temple. And due to offense and fighting with other devotees, Krishna kicked me out. Not the devotees, Krishna. How does Krishna kick one out? If one sees so many faults in other devotees, then the mind will immediately start thinking, oh, there are so many faults. How could I stay with in a place where are so many faults. I find a better place. So, in that way, Maya works. So he has been away from Krishna consciousness, association. And he said, when I came on that plane, I saw you. Because his Mataji's were in saris and recognizable as devotees. When I saw you, I knew I'm going to end up sitting next to one of you. I knew that. Krishna always does that. Always does that. Then he said, I want to forget Krishna. But he doesn't allow me. He always makes some arrangement, and most of the time he always sends some prasadam to me, like right now. It's impossible to forget Krishna, even if I want to forget him, but he does not. He's such a friend. He does not forget me. And then he explained, I just have been at a funeral of my father. And in Kazakhstan, at these occasions, it's only meat. And I didn't eat that meat. And I didn't eat anything. I'm hungry like anything. So he took some prasadam. And he said, can you give me some more? I'll take it with me to have some for tomorrow as well. So that is what a friend Krishna is. It's just absolutely amazing. But Krishna will not forget us. And especially if we have offered some service to Krishna, he will never forget us. Even if someone has only once offered some small service. Śrīla Prabhupāda explains, who is a devotee? In a very, very liberal explanation. A devotee is someone who has at least once chanted Hare Krishna. What a liberal explanation is that? Once chanting Hare Krishna is a devotee. In another purport he says, the Krishna consciousness is being aware of the spiritual energy. He didn't say Krishna consciousness is you chanting 16 rounds and follows the 4 regular principles, no meat, no fish, no eggs, no illicit sexual connections, no gambling, no intoxication. He didn't say that. Being aware of the spiritual energy, that is Krishna consciousness. So Śrīla Prabhupada was very, very liberal and very, very merciful. And Krishna is so merciful that he goes with us wherever we are degrading ourselves or elevating ourselves. Krishna will be always there. Then Śrīla Prabhupada, getting back to the verse. The senses and the mind require engagement. Very important. Some think by artificial means, yogis or impersonalists, they think by artificial means, I keep my senses away from the object of the senses. By force, or like the yogi, to force the senses, to subdue the senses. A certain type of yogis, they're sitting in the hot sun in the summer in India, and they put a ring of fire around them on top of the hot sun. They're sitting in the midst of a ring of fire, just to punish the senses. Because the senses are so want to enjoy, so by artificial means, that doesn't work. And that is not required. Here Śrīla Prabhupāda says the senses need engagement. So Krishna consciousness, that process is so simple, so wonderful, so sublime, that just by engaging our senses in Krishna's service, they become purified. No need of artificial austerities. and punishing our senses, or extraneous fasting, or as yogis in the Himalayas taking a bath in the icy water, or sitting in the hot sun surrounded by a circle of fire, that is not needed. Just by engaging our senses in the service of the Lord, like Ambarish Maharaj. Simple abnegation of the senses is not practical, Śrīla Prabhupāda says here. Yukta. So that is more or less what transpires here from this verse. I read that verse again and then we have some questions. When the yogi, by practice of yoga, disciplines his mental activities and becomes situated in transcendence, devoid of all material desires, he is said to be well established in yoga. Okay, any questions? Is my microphone working? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Yeah.
Yes, because here it says your microphone is not working or something. Okay. That's not applicable. So questions. Vijay, any question?
Just a question about parents. So if you become manage to become a pure devotee,
Yes.
Does that mean your parents or relatives, they also have liberation, spiritual liberation as well? Is that
Good question.
correct? Yeah.
Very nice question. Just recently, I came across a purport by Śrīla Prabhupāda where he says, I'll find it even for you. It's just so nice. Śrīla Prabhupāda says, just by being the mother or a father of a devotee, automatically liberated. Isn't that beautiful? Parents are automatically liberated just by having given birth to a devotee, or someone who became a devotee. So that's very reassuring. Yes, parents will be liberated. What to speak of? We find that in the Srimad Bhagavatam, I believe so, that if one becomes a pure devotee, then 100 generations in the past and 100 generations in the future will be also liberated. So if we wanted to do something good for our family line, 100 generations in the past and 100 generations into the future, then let's become a pure devotee of the Lord. That's the goal. And that will not only give us the liberation and we're going back to the spiritual world, but so many parents and grandparents and grandparents, and in the future as well. If there are our children and the children of our children, the children and children of our children, like that. Does that answer your question, Vijay?
Yeah, I just another distinction between spiritual liberation and moksha. Are they the same thing or different?
All right, that's a good question. What is liberation? Is moksha, same thing.
Yeah, same thing.
But there are 5 kinds of liberation. Right? 5 kinds. Ritu and Prabhu, what are the 5 kinds of liberation? Amritarati Mataji.
Prabhuji, this first is there is Sharupya Mukti, Shajujya Mukti, Shalokya Mukti, Shamipya Mukti, and Shashti.
Oh, very nice.
5. One is Shalukko means like going to the same planet, that is the spiritual, the Vaikuntha Lokas. Shamipo means being in association with the Lord, very close to the Lord in the Vaikuntha planets. Sharupa means having the same form as that of Lord Vishnu, that is 4-handed form, like the associates. Shamipo and Shashti means like having the same opulence as that of Lord Vishnu. And the other one, which is rejected by the Vaishnavas, is Shajujya Mukti. That means like it's impersonal. That's the end goal of the impersonalists, like merging into the existence and finishing off his own existence. That which Prabhupada says spiritual suicide.
Thank you. Very nice. You know everything about liberation. Yes, Sayujya Mukti. We don't accept that Mukti. We may accept the other Muktis, but Sayujya we don't accept it. Because it means merging into the Brahman effulgence of the Lord. And what is so, of course, Brahman effulgence is great, but merging into the Brahman effulgence, when you become one with the Lord, that even the demons which are killed by Krishna, they also receive, like Ravana, Kamsa, they also receive this Sayujya Mukti because they have been touched by the body of the Lord. So that's not such a wonderful company. Imagine you are in the Brahman effulgence and your left door neighbor is Ravana and your right door neighbor is Hiranyakashipu. You're not in very good company. So we don't accept that merging. And most who merging in this Brahma effulgence, they're falling down again to the material platform. Why? Because as we have so nicely, Śrīla Prabhupāda has so nicely explained here in this verse, at the end, the senses need engagement. Transcendental engagement. So in the Brahmacharya there is no engagement. And there was the last bit, maybe we finish soon. There was a devotee who was inquiring from Śrīla Prabhupāda. I think this Sayujya Mukti, merging the Brahmacharya is very nice. And Śrīla Prabhupāda explained to him, imagine you sitting in a field, just you, all alone. And that field, as far as you look, like in America, these wheat fields, these big fields, as far as everywhere on the horizon, just the same crops, the same field. You're sitting there, no engagement, nothing to do, and you're sitting there for eternity. Is that a very good proposition? Maybe bored. We need some variety. We need engagement of the senses. That variety is found in the spiritual world. So much variety. Or as it is said, variety is the mother of enjoyment. If we eat our favorite food every day, morning, breakfast, lunch and dinner, favorite food, for a week, even a week, we get completely bored of it. We need change. Can you change the food? Change the recipe? So I want something else now. So variety. And due to that, and the soul is always active, and to be in that inactive state of sitting there in the Brahmacharya, due to our, we want the soul is always active. We want engagement, so we're falling down back to the material level. So therefore, this Sayujya Mukti is not accepted by devotees. Hare Krishna. Any other question? One more question. Any question, Hari?
I was actually, the previous question kind of touched on what I was going to ask about, because it was interesting that you mentioned Ravan, because I was going to sort of bring that up, because obviously Ravan was one of the gatekeepers in Vaikuntha Loka originally, if I'm correct, and he actually asked Lord Vishnu to descend in that form so he could return to him more quickly. But my general point, my question to you, Prabhu, was about you described the material devotee. So the devotee that approaches Sri Krishna, but is still immersed in Maya. You know, perhaps he approaches Krishna for a material gain. You know, I think we can see it's quite common in Hinduism. People will go to the temple and pray for a nice wife or a promotion or all kinds of things. And I believe, correct me if I get it wrong, I believe it says in the Gita, chapter 4, I think it's verse 11, where he says, as one surrenders unto me, I reciprocate. So my question to you is, when we're new to Krishna consciousness, even if it's unconscious, many devotees, and I will include myself here, I don't follow all the, I mean, I should know better. I've been involved in these circles for quite a while now. I don't follow all the regulative principles. Yeah, I still like to think of myself in some form as a devotee. You know, I think of Krishna, I chant, I pray. But often those prayers are, even if it's unintentional, there is a level of, you know, I say I surrender, and yet secretly I hope for an outcome. You know, perhaps it's an issue in my material life. Perhaps I'm going through some difficulty, and I say, "Oh, Krishna," and I've got an aim in mind. You know, I think, "Oh, I'd like it to be like this." Of course, that's ignorant. You know, I'm still perpetuating this cycle. But my question to you is, if Krishna responds reciprocally, and we're asking for fruitative results, what is the outcome? Does Krishna grant those fruitative results, or does he perhaps do so in a way that makes us realize the futility of asking for such things?
Good question. Good question. He doesn't have to grant it. Sometimes he grants it and sometimes he doesn't. Why? Because, first of all, it's according to we must deserve it also. That means karma. Krishna, he will perhaps not grant it because he knows we're getting entangled. Krishna is very kind. So what he wants the best for us. If he knows we want some particular material desires fulfilled, but that desire will just entangle us and carries us away from him by his great love for us, he will not grant that material desires, because it's just like a young child is asking for a knife, a sharp knife, and the parent, he will not allow him, will not give him a sharp knife where he just hurts himself. So Krishna is very caring. On the other hand, if someone has still some material desires in his heart, Krishna may very well in other circumstances grant him those desires. So it all depends. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, very well explained, Prabhu. Thank you.
And the first bit of your question with Ravan, that's an exception, Ravan, because they have been brought back to Vaikuntha. They were Jai and Vijay. But generally, other demons, they just find shelter in not shelter, they don't find shelter. Shelter is only at Krishna's lotus feet. But that verse you mentioned, ye yatamam prapatyante tamsta vachamyaham mama manuvartante manushya the sarvashaha, as all surrender unto me, I reward them accordingly. There are different ways of what that verse means. In his purport, Śrīla Prabhupāda mainly speaks about, in that Bhagavad Gītā verse, he speaks about if one surrenders to the level of Brahman, then Krishna will reward that knowledge of Brahman. If one surrenders on that level of Paramatma, super soul, the yogic process, then Krishna will grant that. And if someone wants to see Krishna as Bhagavan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, then Krishna will grant that. But there is more to it, as all surrender unto me. It depends what kind of, on a very higher level, what kind of relationship do we want with Krishna? At the beginning, we may not think what kind of, our relationship will be in awe and reverence. My Lord, respect, awe, reverence, which is good, it should be. But in due course of time, in the process of self-realization, we desire to have a personal relationship with Krishna, either a neutral relationship or a relationship as a friend, or relationship as a parent, or relationship as a lover. So Krishna will reciprocate with that as well. If we want to be a friend with Krishna, he will be a friend with us. He reciprocates. So there are several levels how Krishna can reciprocate with us, and he does reciprocate with us. There's no question. Krishna does reciprocate with, and he reciprocates also with what level of surrender we have. How much do we want? How much? Easy to say. How much do we want? How much are we able to surrender? Not so much a want. How much we are able to, how much we are purified, how much we have enough of this material life and all what comes along with it. Śrīla Prabhupāda said to his early disciples, your qualification for Krishna consciousness is that you are disgusted of material life. That's a qualification. One has to be have enough of all that material entanglement. And then, if with the proper guidance and the proper trainings, then one can purify all these material desires. It's a long way. It's a long way. And Krishna consciousness starts off with so many material desires, and someone may approach Krishna for fulfillment of one's material desires, and that gets purified. It's just like, I always give that example. You are very dirty from painting the house, and you take a shower, you paint all over you, and you take a shower, and it's just a question of time when all dirt will be washed away. Or that devotee who was chanting in the corridor, while Śrīla Prabhupāda in his room was also chanting, and an urge overcame him. He wanted to know if he can also become a pure devotee, so he knocked on the door. And then Śrīla Prabhupāda said, yes. So he came in, and he already regretted it. You disturbed Śrīla Prabhupāda, and eventually Śrīla Prabhupāda said, so, what? And he said, I know, Śrīla Prabhupāda, you're a pure devotee. But can I also become a pure devotee? Śrīla Prabhupāda kept on chanting, walking forth and back, window to wall, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Then he stopped. He said, why not? You're in the process. That's important, like the shower. We are in the process of purification. So why not? Why can you not become a pure devotee? You're in the process. Then he kept on chanting again, and then he stopped again, and he said, but it may take some time, right? So it will take a little bit of time. And on another occasion, he says to his young disciples, 50 years is more than enough to become fully Krishna conscious. Fully Krishna conscious means pure devotee. So it may take a bit of time. Also, it can be just on another occasion. Devotees have asked, well, how long does it take to become Krishna conscious? And Śrīla Prabhupāda said, 1 minute. If we can fully surrender, change of consciousness. Okay, I think we'll have to stop here, otherwise we're losing Amit, the first one, and anybody else. Did that answer your question a bit, Hari?
Yes, beautifully put. Thank you, Gaurangaji.
Okay, we have also, we're doing on Saturday, I don't think we'll get many devotees at the moment, so we'll wait until we get a few more devotees. I mean, you can come anytime, of course, but we are also on Zoom on Saturday. It's on Saturday, it's a live program at the temple. It may not be many devotees, but the program will carry on. And at the same time, it is on Zoom like tonight. So if you can't or don't at the moment want to come physically to Leicester, at least join on Zoom on a Saturday. How is that, Harry?
Well, I would come personally. The only thing with this weekend is I signed up for the ISKCON discipleship course.
Okay.
Which is running this weekend.
What time?
Let me double check actually for you.
Yes, no.
Because otherwise, it's not that difficult for me to actually get to Leicester.
Okay.
So
Okay.
otherwise, I would have just come straight to.
No, if
So
you have that
it's-
course is very helpful. Do that. Do
Yeah,
that.
I don't think I will take Diksha in ISKCON, but I thought it'd be helpful anyway to
It
learn.
will be helpful.
So
There's a beautiful book, The Spiritual Master and the Disciple, a compilation. I can make that available to you. It's in a PDF format, which explains, it's a compilation of all, whatever Śrīla Prabhupāda has written, spoken, everything about, we might think there's only certain qualifications the spiritual master must have. The disciple has also to have certain qualifications. That's all explained. Everything in relation to disciple and spiritual master. Would you like me to send you that?
yes, please do. The reason I'm taking this course is, I think I explained to you in Derby, I took initiation several years ago, and I was very ignorant about Sastra, and it was a mistake to rush into it. So I'm trying to learn the correct, trying to learn all over again the correct way of approaching a spiritual master. It's from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. I've just double checked. So
is it you physically there at the course?
No, it's just a Zoom Zoom
online
course. Yeah.
So if it's our program on Saturday is at 7 in the evening. Wednesday
Okay,
7,
should be
Saturday 7.
Yeah, that should be good.
Okay.
I'll have a look actually if I can get a bus there, and I'll let you know probably
Let
tomorrow.
me know. Yes. Okay.
Because I just have to figure out if I can get back or not. That'll be the only thing, I suspect.
Fantastic.
I'll let you know.
Sounds all great. Okay, here we have to stop. Thank you very much. Thank you, Hari, for being here. Amit, Jayantibai, Rituan, Amritarade Madachi Vijay. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
See you on Saturday.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.